Hi guys, Olive here. Here today to do my favorite thing I get to do all year. It's time again to start getting ready for Nonfiction November. Nonfiction November is a month-long reading initiative that we began here on BookTube back in 2015 to encourage the community to read a little bit of nonfiction if you currently read none, or to read a little more if you currently read some. Then and now, there has sometimes been this impression of nonfiction, especially on the bookish internet, that it's dry, it's boring, it's intimidating, it's not as fun to read as fiction. I've had people reach out to me and say they didn't even consider picking up nonfiction books before Nonfiction November. While you will find that there's the occasional book within the genre that doesn't deliver, you will also find that with so many choices, the wealth of books within the genre, it can be equally as approachable, rewarding, and fun to read as fiction. The nonfiction genre is for everyone. Becoming a nonfiction reader is just about finding the right nonfiction books for you. Which nonfiction books out there speak to your interests? Which ones out there can you find yourself in? Nonfiction November is the perfect time to explore the genre and discover more about yourself as a reader within it. I'm also happy to report that Nonfiction November has become quite the event over the years. It's now a very big internet-wide event that many people participate in. So not only are you going to get the chance to try out some nonfiction books, but you will also get the opportunity to connect with many other readers who are also celebrating nonfiction, and you're going to discover so many new books. My TBR grows so much every single Nonfiction November, and I'm not exactly hurting for nonfiction books on my TBR. So if you've been curious about giving nonfiction a try and you just don't know where to start, you don't know what book to pick up, I can almost guarantee that sometime in the lead up to Nonfiction November or during Nonfiction November, you're going to hear about at least one book that you can't live without. Or if you're like me and you already read nonfiction books, then Nonfiction November is our time to celebrate the genre and maybe challenge ourselves to read a little more of it if we want to. Nonfiction November is a fully customizable event. You get to decide what you read and how much of it you read. There is only one requirement for participation, and that's that you read at least just one nonfiction book during the month of November. But if you're looking for an added challenge, or if you just want a little bit more direction when it comes to selecting your books, every single year, I come up with 4 one-word challenges, words that can be interpreted in a variety of different ways. These are challenges that you can cherry pick, you can combine them, you can twist and turn them, or you can ignore them entirely. They are only here for a little bit of extra fun if you want it. For 2023, our 4 challenge words are fraud, web, capital, display. Like I said before, each of these 4 words has multiple different definitions, different ways to be interpreted. There is no one correct way to take any of these challenges. You can really do whatever you want with them. Creativity is encouraged. I know a lot of people come into Nonfiction November with books they already want to read, so then they make a sport of trying to make those challenges fit the books they already want to read by any means necessary, and it is always very entertaining. But just from my brainstorming, let me give you some possible interpretations of these words. Fraud, I mean, of course, it's going to be a goldmine for all of my true crime fans out there. Basically, any book discussing fraudulent activity or detailing a sham would fit it perfectly, but you could also read a book that has been rumored or even confirmed to have a little bit of fiction within its pages. That, I think, would work really well for fraud. Or you could even pick up a book that makes you feel imposter syndrome, like it takes you way outside of your comfort zone. Web, I think, points most to science, nature, and technology. Of course, a very literal interpretation of this word could be a book on spiders, but I really think any nonfiction book about the natural world would work very nicely. Since the internet, at least once upon a time, was referred to as the web, it could be a book on the internet, or even a book that you were recommended or first heard about on the internet. It could be a nonfiction book with a large cast of characters, like an ensemble, a whole web of people, or it could be a nonfiction book about a very messed up situation, like What a Tangled Web We Weave. The third challenge is capital. So of course, if you pick anything on finance or money, that's a great fit, but I was also thinking of this one in terms of international politics, since nations are referred to by the name of their capital. You could read a biography of a nation's capital, but you could also read a nonfiction book on typography, fonts, or even handwriting. Yes, there are nonfiction books out there on those topics. You could interpret capital like capital letters. And the fourth challenge, display, it's a very visual word, so I was thinking books on art, fashion, any kind of dramatic performance, or even food. It could be a book with a beautiful cover, like one you would want to put on display. Or if you pick out your Nonfiction November books at your local bookstore or your local library, it could be a book you found on display, like a librarian or a staff recommendation. I also thought that display could be interpreted as a book that says something about you and your interests. But those were just some possible interpretations, possible ways you could use these words to select your books, but please feel free to put your own spin on them if you want to do them at all, because you absolutely do not have to. They are entirely optional. They are only here for fun. You won't be doing anything wrong if you don't take on the challenges, and you certainly won't hurt my feelings, because the correct way to do Nonfiction November is the way that works best for you. Like I said before, there is only one requirement for participation, and that is to read at least one nonfiction book during the month of November. Beyond that, it's up to you. But another big part of Nonfiction November is connecting with other readers, and there are so many ways to do that before and during the event. We have a Goodreads page, a long-running Goodreads page where you can chat with other readers and share recommendations. We have an Instagram page and an Instagram photo per day challenge that will be going on during the month of November if you want to join in on that. There's a TikTok. I'll be over there making some TikToks during the month of November. We also have a Twitter. I refuse to call it X. And I'll be tweeting and retweeting some nonfiction related things also during the month of November. The links to everywhere you can connect with the event will be in the description box below for you. Please feel free to join in wherever you are online and use the hashtag NonfictionNovember to add your voice to the internet-wide discussion. This time next week, I'll be posting a video with recommendations for each of our 4 challenges, and in that exact same video, I will be sharing what I plan on reading for the challenges. In the meantime, if you just can't get enough Nonfiction November, if you want a little bit of direction with the challenges, or you're just looking for some good recommendations, please do visit us on social media. Our Goodreads page especially has a long-running, dedicated recommendations super thread that you can peruse through. Search the Nonfiction November hashtag across social media, or you can watch my or other booktubers' recommendations videos from previous years. Like I said, this event has been going on for a long time now, so there is already an abundance of content out there ready to be explored, with more to come as people start posting their TBRs for this year's Nonfiction November. Those are always so much fun to see, especially factoring in the creative interpretations of the challenges. I hope you'll consider joining us for what is always a fun month of learning and self-discovery. Please let me know in the comments if you plan on joining in, if you're planning on doing the challenges, if you have any early TBR ideas. Also, let me know down in the comments if you have any questions about the event. I will be happy to help in whatever way I can. And as I said before, the links to all of our social media profiles will be linked in the description box below. Be sure to take a moment now to connect with us wherever you are online so that you start getting some nonfiction content in your feed to get you hyped for what is going to be a terrific month of nonfiction reading. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're as excited for Nonfiction November as I am. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.